Hello and welcome to another weekly diagnosis, the show where I talk about all the nerdy things going on up here. This week, I'm going to be talking about a few indie games. Recently, I played through a little game called Tinykin, and it had me thinking about how great indie games have become. So this week, I'm going to do the very first 5 and 5, where I talk about my 5 favorite things of the last 5 years. This week's topic being my favorite indie games that have come out in the last 5 years. As always, this is in no particular order, but we are going to start with Tinykin since I just played it. This game is instantly in my 5 favorite 3D platformers of all time. I adored the level design of each of the separate rooms of the house, and I don't think I've ever popped off harder about a level than when I realized I was about to enter a toy room. Ooh, it's got like a... If I walk into this room and it's like a fucking Hot Wheels track, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind! That banner had a fucking car on it. Oh, I'm gonna lose my mind if that's what this is about to be. Let's go. There's like racetrack stuff. Oh. If this game, I mean, come on. I didn't think it was gonna get any better, and it just did. It is a nice, simple, relaxing collectathon that oozes charm through its dialogue and its collectibles. The ending is kind of sad and fucked up, and has a huge lore implications in the Tinykin universe that should exist, because I want a sequel to this game ASAP. While we were on the topic of Tinykin, let me place it in my top 100 at number 49. This places it right between Deathloop at 48 and Gears of War 2 at 50. This does, however, kick LEGO Lord of the Rings off the list into the fiery pits of Mount Doom. The new number 100 is Heavy Rain. Let's move on to Death's Door. If you follow the podcast and know what I stand for, you know that Death's Door was my game of the year last year. It is an incredible game that I still jam out to the soundtrack in the shower on occasion. The combat is fluid and the different abilities you are given throughout the game keep it fresh and satisfying. The combat can be hard, but like any great boss, once you figure out the game plan for beating them, you can still die a ton, but one day you'll get lucky enough and dodge enough attacks in order for you to survive. Stylistically, this game shines as the art style is phenomenal, and the visuals of one of the boss fights in particular is so simple, but just so cool. The level design is full of shortcuts that you can unlock, and while you might find yourself being lost a couple of times, it's usually not too hard to figure out where you're supposed to go. I loved every minute playing this game, even as I died over and over again to that damn Wampa. The next 2 games are still supported by the developers with lots and lots of content. They're technically no longer indie games because big company by little company, but, you know, they were initially released as indie games, so I'm putting them on the list. The first is Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. I feel like I talk about Fall Guys every week on the podcast, but why not talk about it a little more? I remember seeing the very first trailer for this game and instantly falling in love with it. I bought it on Steam even though I knew I could get it for free on PS Plus because I didn't want to wait a month. I played a ton of this game early on and then kind of fell off of it for a while and would hop into each new season for a bit to see what was up. Then, big old boy Epic Games bought Mediatonic and made it free to play, and now I've been playing a whole lot again. For the most part, however, I liked the game more when it was still an indie game. The shop was better, and it was worth it to keep playing to save up enough kudos or crowns to purchase an item. Really, that is the main thing that has changed. If the game could have gotten the player base it has now without going to free to play, that would have been ideal, but obviously that's just not how things work. To me, Fall Guys will always be an uber fun indie game at heart. The servers sure still feel like it's an indie game. The second, no longer indie game, is Deep Rock Galactic. I haven't been there since the beginning of this one, so it's hard for me to tell the actual differences between before and after the dev was purchased, but from what I understand, this game has always been loved from the minute it released, and it still is to this day. For me, this game just has endless playability. I feel like whenever I've played, the only reason I stop playing is because I need to sleep. I never, ever get bored of this game. The gameplay is fun and just as relaxing as it is chaotic at times. The procedural generation produces an endless supply of unique caves to explore that can end up being extremely beautiful. One time there were flying manta rays that you could hold onto and use like a glider. I mean, come on, how much more could you ask for? And that's the thing. This game is full to the brim with charm, from everything to the simple taglines the dwarfs say to the jukebox dancing circle in the hub area. Also, unlike Fall Guys, the community surrounding this game is extremely positive and has very little, if any, toxicity. Rock and Stone, baby. Rock and Stone. Finally, the last indie game is one that is very near and dear to my heart because it started off as a mod to one of my favorite games ever. And of course, I am talking about The Forgotten City. The time loop mechanic in this game is incredible, as you unravel all the secrets of the titular Forgotten City. The best part is how you can use the time loop to your advantage. There's no reason to not try something, because if something goes wrong, you can just run back and restart the loop. And on top of that, there's a character that you essentially can just tell them what to do to get you right back to where you were, so you can try something different. It's a little hard to explain without giving away too much, but all you need to know is that there are poignant storylines throughout the game, as the writing is outstanding. To put it simply, if you have not played The Forgotten City, you should 100% play it. And while it's on Game Pass, it is also worth the $25 on other platforms for not just the game, but to also support a great indie dev who I hope wows us with another game in the future. That's it for this week's diagnosis and the very first 5 and 5. Let me know some of your favorite indie games in the comments, and let me know what kind of bear is best. Thanks for watching.
Round of oily oafs, please.